This is an orange pound cake you didn't know you needed. It has a velvety soft melt in your mouth texture with the delicate citrusy orange flavor layered in every bite. It's a bright fresh cake with just the perfect balance in flavors. Let's begin. We'll first preheat the oven to 160 Celsius or 325 Fahrenheit. Just like we do with any citrus fruit, we'll start off by adding the zest of the orange into sugar. The natural oils in the zest are power-packed with orange flavor and single-handedly transform this cake. Make sure you're only getting the orange bit and not the white part of the skin, as that's bitter. Massage the zest into the superfine caster sugar and add it into the bowl of your stand mixer or a large mixing bowl if using electric beaters. There's also softened room temperature butter in there. I will also add honey, which is a type of invert sugar and helps keep your pound cake intensely moist and tender. And then some vanilla extract, and we are ready to cream this mix for 6 to 7 minutes on a medium-high speed till the sugar crystals dissolve completely and create aeration when whipped with the butter and the other ingredients. I use my paddle attachment. I will also stop halfway through so I can scrape down the sides and the bottom of the bowl to ensure all ingredients are mixing really well. The mix will increase dramatically in volume and will also turn very pale in color and get really nice and fluffy as well. This is a very important step, so don't skimp on the creaming process. Now we'll add in some room temperature sour cream. This is a game changer as it adds more moistness and tenderness to the cake and also drastically improves the flavor as well. Once you've added the sour cream, mix again on a medium-high speed for 2 minutes. This is speed 8 on my stand mixer, which has a range of speed 1 to 10. At this point, the mix will look very glossy, very velvety, almost like buttercream frosting, and that is absolutely perfect. You again want to scrape down the sides and the bottom of the bowl just to make sure all ingredients are mixing really well. It's now time for us to add the eggs. I'll slow down my stand mixer to speed 2 or 3 and then start adding room temperature eggs one at a time. You can also whisk all the eggs together first and then add that mix a little at a time. Both ways work really well. Once you've added all 3 eggs, you'll stop your stand mixer and scrape down the sides and the bottom of the bowl once. You can see all the unmixed gloopy egg bits, and that's the reason why you just want to mix everything first before you go back in with your paddle attachment. When we mix again on a medium-high speed for 2 minutes more, this mix will turn super glossy and velvety again. However, if your batter still looks a little split at this point, don't worry at all. Once you sift in your dry ingredients, which are your all-purpose flour or plain flour, and your leavening agents, which are essentially your baking powder and baking soda, along with some salt, the batter will re-emulsify again. Once you sift in the dry ingredients, it is time to mix with your paddle attachment one last time. But at this stage, do not overmix. Just mix for about 10 to 15 seconds on a low speed and your cake batter will be ready to bake. You want to avoid over mixing the cake batter after you've added the flour because that can develop the gluten, and if that happens, your cake will end up being very dense and gummy instead of being tender, velvety and melt in your mouth. I'm going to give this batter one last fold through like this just to make sure all the dry ingredients are well mixed in the batter and our beautiful orange pound cake batter is ready. I'm going to add this lush velvety thick batter into a 7-inch loaf tin that I have greased really well, and I have lined one side with parchment paper with plenty of overhang. This will help us release the cake very easily from its tin once it's baked. Spread the batter out evenly, tap several times against the work surface to release any air pockets. I'm also going to use my offset spatula to smooth out the surface of this cake batter. You will then bake this at 160 degrees Celsius or 325 degrees Fahrenheit for about 50 to 55 minutes or until a skewer, knife or a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. Let the cake sit in its tin for about 15 to 20 minutes and then transfer to a wire rack to cool down completely. Once the cake is out of the oven, make your orange simple syrup. It's ridiculously easy to prepare. Just orange juice and caster sugar in a saucepan. Mix on a medium heat until the sugar dissolves. Do not bring to a boil. You don't want to thicken this syrup, you just want to heat it up until the sugar dissolves. I found that adding a couple of tablespoons of orange juice to the cake batter while adds to the tenderness of the cake, it doesn't impart an orange flavor as its quantity compared to the other ingredients is quite negligible to make a significant flavor impact. The orange zest in the cake batter does a great job instead. And this is also why I prefer instead to soak the cake batter with an orange simple syrup. Transfer to another bowl and then dab it all over the surface of the cake using a pastry brush. Make sure that you're getting the tops and the sides as well. This will help seal in the moisture while also adding an extra layer of orange flavor. Now for the final orange element, which is optional and you can skip it if you wish, is the orange glaze. Wait for the cake to cool down completely first and only then add some orange juice to sifted icing sugar or confectioner's sugar. I will add a tablespoon first and just mix it well to check the consistency, and then I will adjust the consistency of the glaze accordingly. At first, you may think that the glaze is too thick and isn't coming together, but when you mix it enough, you'll start to notice that the glaze does start to loosen up, which is why you don't want to overwhelm it with too much liquid or it will be extremely runny and will not hold on to the cake. Once you are happy with the consistency of the glaze, pour it generously over the surface of the cooled cake. Make sure that the cake has cooled down thoroughly at this point. This is very important. You don't want to add the glaze on a warm cake because it will not stick to the surface of the cake and will melt away. Sprinkle some more orange zest on the surface before the glaze dries and then let it sit at room temperature for about 30 minutes or so for the glaze to dry and set. And we are now ready to slice into this stunning orange pound cake. Not only does it look absolutely adorable, but it also has a jaw-dropping flavor. And we're now ready to slice into this stunning orange pound cake. It's so moist and tender, soft and fluffy, and a velvety melt in your mouth texture. I promise you this is going to be your new favorite pound cake. And speaking of pound cakes, I have an entire playlist of the most incredible pound cake flavors that you can imagine. You're going to absolutely love it. Check it out next. You can see it on the screen. I'll see you in a future baking video. Until then, goodbye and happy baking.